She told me to read it the way it is.
I told morning one number 81.
It's morning somewhere in the world.
Well, she told me to read it the way it is.
Did.
I kept asking.
Say good afternoon.
Okay. Good evening. And welcome to this regular meeting of the Nacogdoches Independent School District Board of Trustees. Let the record show that the quorum of the board members is present and that notice of this meeting has been legally posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. Please remember that items do not have to be taken in the order shown on the agenda. Join us in switching your cell phones to a silent mode. The board will now conduct an executive closed session to discuss the items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provisions of the Texas Open Meeting Act as allowed by Texas Government Code sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in open session. It is now 5:01. board is now reconvening into open session, and the time is 6:02. Mr. Green will lead us, we'll ask him to give us our invocation.
Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that we've had today. We pray that you will be with this board today. Bless them and give them the discernment and the wisdom that can only come from you to make all our decisions. Pray that you'll be with the students in this district, especially during this Christmas time, and they're away from the school system, and pray that they will be safe. Special prayer for the family at TJR, that their house burnt, and the father is in the hospital in Dallas. Pray that you'll be with them, and pray that you will always, and this in your most holy Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We will now call on Mr. Miller to introduce the Brooks Gwynn Jones Elementary School students that will lead us in the pledges to the flags this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, President Irvin, school board members, and Superintendent Dowdy. We appreciate this opportunity. I have to say that after Ms. Wells brought her student council up here, I've been wanting to do that for 4 years, so I decided I better get on the ball and do it. So we put together our student council. We have 18 student council members. Of the 9 that were going to be here tonight, seems like half of them are sick, which is reflective of the rest of our campus and the flu. So anyway, we're glad they're here, and they're going to stand up and introduce themselves.
My name is Raven Leeden.
My name is Kiara Sweat.
My name is Maitha Cano.
My name is Zakirian Washington.
My name is Donnie Ringhausen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Now 1 moment of silence.
We always do a minute of silence afterwards, so we've already done that. Thank you all. If you want to take pictures.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we'll have a public hearing on School First report. After the presentation, there will be an opportunity for our guests, comments and questions. We'll call on Ms. Lisa Barber.
Good evening, President Irvin, board members, Superintendent Dowdy. This is a public hearing on the annual Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas Management Report for the 15-16 fiscal year. The primary goal of this rating are to achieve quality performance in the management of a school district's financial resources and to encourage districts to provide the maximum allocation possible to its instruction program. And this is where you can find the Texas code on how that's determined. There are 15 key indicators ranging from A to F, and we received a superior rating. We received a score of 98 out of 100 points, and that was the same as last year. The first 5 questions are called critical questions, and they are pass or fail. If you fail any of these questions, you receive an F grade or a substandard rating. So the district submitted its financial report on time, and the auditors gave us an unmodified opinion. Sorry, I didn't realize these were set up this way. Okay. They found that our financial statements were free of any instances of material weaknesses and internal controls, same as last year. And the district is in compliance with all of its debt agreements. The district made timely payments to TRS, IRS, and any other governmental agencies it had payments to. The district's total unrestricted net assets were greater than 0. The number of days of cash on hand at 6/30/2016 was 130 days. The district requires 120 days, and the state requires a minimum of 90 days. Our current assets to our current liabilities ratio was 3.3697, which received the highest rating of 10. The ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets were sufficient to support our long-term debt. The district general fund revenues equal or exceeded the expenditures less Function 81, which is our facility acquisition and construction. Debt service coverage was sufficient to meet the required debt payments. The school district's administrative cost ratio was equal to or less than the threshold ratio. This is the only question where we did not receive the maximum of 10 points. We received 8 points, same as last year. The district did not have a 15% decline in students to staff ratio over a 3-year period. What was the financial statements? There was a minuscule variance between the financial statements and what was reported to TEA through the PEAMS submission, and this is due to rounding. The external independent auditor indicated that our financial statements were free of any material noncompliance for federal grants or state grants. The district did not receive an adjusted repayment schedule due to hardship. So there is the layout of our points. It's the exact same as last year. We got 98 out of 100. The superintendent's contract is provided on the website, and it's also included in the Financial Accountability Management Report, which is also on the website, and there were some provided outside. Reimbursements. Here are some reimbursements that were received by the superintendent and board members at the time. This can be found in the Financial Management Report as well. There were no outside compensations or fees received by the superintendent for consulting or any other personal services. There were no gifts received by executive officers and board members during this time period. And we had one board member who worked for Burke Center, and she is not an owner, but she is a CEO, so we're required to record payments that were made to the Burke Center, and they totaled for the year a little over $5,300. And at this time, I'd like to offer the public an opportunity to ask questions or give comments.
I have a couple questions. First of all, in administrative fees, you showed an increase from year over year. Can you go back to that slide and tell us what that percentage is? And do you have the dollar value of the increase in administrative costs?
You talking about 11?
Yes, so it was 0.102.
0.11696. Last year it was 0.10275.
And how does that translate to dollars? Do you know? How much do we increase it dollars to dollars?
Well, that you can increase your instructional program, you can decrease your administrative costs, or you can do a combination of both.
Well, this is for administrative costs. Does that include instructional?
Well, you compare it to your instructional. It's your what's called our function 21 and 41. 21 is instructional administration, 41 is general administration compared to everything else.
So do you know, did administrative costs go up or did instructional costs go up?
Both.
And do you have a dollar value for that?
Well, it's in your report if you,
Is it in the?
yes it is.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes?
I have a question on number 7. We were kind of tight on the assets to liabilities ratio. Do you know how that compares to previous years?
What indicator was that?
It was indicator number 7, and it was 3.3697, and we were shooting for greater than 3.
No, anything greater than 3 is your maximum. I don't have the ratios in front of me, but we weren't anywhere close to coming to a lower point. If you look at your report, it gives the range there on when you'll drop down to 8 or 6. And in that report, each of the calculations for each of these ratios is spelled out.
I only have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Okay, on the business transactions, Mr. Smith and Mr. Davis had significantly higher expenses and reimbursements from the district. Do you have any reason why theirs was so much higher than the rest of the board?
It may be that they had their first year of training, so they may have had to do more training. I mean, I really don't know why theirs would be more, but I would guess that it was because it was their first year of training in.
Mr. Davis, the president, who'd been on the board for.
Oh, I don't know why. Do you know why he would receive more?
Can you show that slide? I do know that Mr. Smith went to 2 conferences that year.
Mr.
His continuing education hours.
Tom
Mr.
Davis.
Davis usually had a weekly or monthly meeting with the superintendent, which would, you have to report the cost of the meals purchased. If you can show that slide, I think that's maybe the figure you're talking about. It's nearly $1,000. Okay. And my last question is on the gifts for the board officers. Is that zero line, 0 gifts or $0? Because I know we've seen the gifts presented to the board from the district during board member recognition events. Also, we've seen iPads and other materials provided to the board. Is it $0 value or 0 gifts provided to the board?
These are gifts. These are items for them to take home that have monetary value. Their iPads are not their own. They are the district property.
What about mugs and scarves and other presents that they've received?
Those are de minimis. They are immaterial.
But those immaterial gifts could add up to more than $250 in an aggregate value.
I am not aware of them receiving that value of gifts.
Kelly, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's if any one gift is over $50, the elected official is required to report it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In this particular report, it says aggregate.
I am still not aware of them receiving gifts of
I think what Ms. Fitch is alluding to is that you report it, and then if it adds up in the aggregate, the reported amount gets to 250, then it impacts this.
Yeah, I'm still not aware of gifts that they received that would even meet that They would have to report it as well. Any questions from the board?
Ms. Barber, I have a question. I received the package concerning, I guess, let me see the title of it, monthly report.
Oh,
And,
do we want to discuss that right now?
Yeah, it says, let me read the headline. Nacogdoches Independent School District Statement of Unaudited Revenue and Expenditure as of November 30th, 2017. Do you have that in front of you?
No, I don't.
That's not this
This is the
report,
first public hearing.
That's not this
Okay.
report. Thank you.
That will fall under,
Reverend Irvin, I just want to make a comment to Mrs. Barber and Mrs. Dowdy and all the staff for your hard work for superior rating. Thank you for your work and maintaining. We appreciate the effort you put forth to maintain this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question. When you talked about the cash on hand is where we didn't get a 10, or did we get a
That was
10?
administrative cost ratio that we did not receive a
Okay.
10.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Lisa.
Page, we go to the.
Recognition. No. Yeah, recognition.
Okay, here we are.
Yes.
All right. This portion of the board meeting is an opportunity for us to recognize our students, staff, and volunteers, and community partners, and we'll call on Mr. Lessie.
Thank you. Good evening, President Irvin, board members, and Superintendent Dowdy. Tonight, 4 Nacogdoches ISD students, 3 from the high school and 1 from McMichael Middle School, had pieces selected to be published in the Acentos Review, a quarterly literary and arts journal. This particular issue is dedicated to showcasing the work of Barrio writers across all the chapters of this program, not just here in Nacogdoches, but wherever this program is being used. Barrio Writers is a creative writing program which provides free college-level writing workshops and offers participants the opportunity to build skills in reading, grammar, creative writing, critical thinking, freedom of expression through cultural arts, and publication in the annual Barrio Writers Anthology. This is also another example of collaboration between Nacogdoches ISD and Stephen F. Austin State University, which oversees the Barrio Writers program here in Nacogdoches. The students here tonight, and when I call your name, please come on up here, are from the high school, Cameron Daniels, Shyla Driver, Zakiah Davis, and from McMichael's Middle School, Noble Peck. If you guys would come on up here, please. Also here tonight is Dr. Lauren Burrow from Stephen F. Austin State University. Dr. Burrow works with the Barrio Writers program, and we want to thank her for her involvement as well as the colleges and praise these students for being published in the review.
Is she here? The lady, where is she? Come on up. Come on up, please. We want to grow this program. I know y'all have heard that, but we want to grow this program for our district.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you guys very much for being here.
Good job.
We now come to the information item and reports of tonight's meeting, and we'll begin with Ms. Dowdy.
Sure. Good evening. During the first full week of December, NISD students took part in the nationwide Computer Science Week by holding Hour of Code events. It was the first step in introducing young students to the world of computer coding. The details behind the details responsible for everything a computer does, or for that matter, the latest coffee makers, not to mention the cars parked outside. Elizabeth Hutchinson, an SFA instructor, and several of her students visited Regay Elementary during the week. NISD held a reception this month to recognize fall student teachers and interns in the district. Director of Human Resources Jamie Derrick and the HR department organized the reception, which allowed campus principals to meet SFA students that have already spent time with the district and try to recruit those teachers. Students at 3 NISD schools, Carpenter, Thomas J. Rusk, and Fredonia, are tending their gardens this year. I don't know if some of you have been out to see these gardens. They're incredible. Raising vegetables while getting some hands-on experience. This is a wonderful program that includes collaboration from a number of parties. The effort receives assistance and aid from the Texas A&M Agri-Life Extension Services, as well as Stephen F. Austin University, along with volunteers such as Jim and Carrie Lemon, who first started the gardening project at TJR. Go out and visit it sometimes. They look wonderful. And as a reminder, Thursday is early release for the district, with campuses letting classes out beginning at noon. Christmas break begins Friday and will last through the first week of January. Students and teachers will return to school on Monday, January the 8th. I do want to make a note here that surrounding districts are all letting out because of the flu. It seems to be hitting us big time this week, where it just kind of like came upon us this week. We have about over 600 students that were absent today. We're watching that very carefully. We have a day and a half left of school. That's it. And we have high school kids taking finals, and we're trying to get as many of those students through those finals and then arrange for those that weren't able to take it for sickness when they come back. But we're going to try to make it for this day and a half, and we won't have to take winter day. But we don't have as long as some of those other districts had, so we're watching it carefully. But we're seeing the flu on the rise in Nacogdoches. Also, I want you to notice on tonight's agenda, at the very end of the agenda, there's a review of legal and local policies, EL, for campus charters. We have been provided with 3 options from TEA for our 5th year IR campuses. This is something that I've read over and over again, but there was another option added this year. We provided the options to the campuses, and they are improving the campuses such that it is no longer an hour. Well, that's, of course, our first goal. We want those campuses out of hour, just like TJR and the district, and we feel like we will achieve that. However, we have to be planning in case we don't. So the other 2 options that TEA gave us is closing the campus, which we mentioned last year, but it's in closing the entire campus, not just certain grade levels. You have to do, or you can do this proactively. That comes into problem with space. And then the other option they've given is partnering with the campus via Senate Bill 1882, which involves charter schools. What I want you to hear me clearly and loudly is that we are not saying we're doing this, so take that with you. We are not saying we're combining with a charter. This is an option the state has given us. So in preparation, if we want to use that option or have to option, we have to prepare for it. The state is working, they haven't even finished, the state is working to develop the final details for partnering with charter schools, and that should be out late January. I want to make this so that we have made no decision to go with a charter. As a district, we must approve the new charter policy that state has provided, EL, to be able to include this as a local option if we need to. So that's why you see it on tonight's agenda. We've got to we've got to improve that policy for our chance to, if we need to use it. The committee to review options has not been canceled. It's just the fact that we needed to get the info from the state to make good decisions because some things were put on hold that we did not realize that we would have available to us. And they are just now, we've been working consistently with group from TEA, talking to them about when all these rules and procedures would be out, and they won't be out till January. So that's why it's on the agenda tonight. Oh, and have a very Merry and safe Christmas from all of us. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Dottie. We come now to the Regatio case, and we'll call on Ms. Wales.
Good evening, President Irvin, board members, Superintendent Dowdy. I'm going to introduce you to one of my interventionists and instructional coaches, Jessica Allen. She works a lot with me on one of my passions, which is academic vocabulary. My teachers will tell you I'm very passionate about academic vocabulary. And As we started working with Lead Forward, they started talking about the impact of academic vocabulary on our students. We really implemented it at our campus. What we started noticing is there's academic vocabulary that goes with content, but there's a different academic vocabulary that goes along with testing. And I would go into classrooms and I would do walkthroughs and I would do observations, and teachers are doing these amazing lessons. Students are having discussions that I'm going, wow, they have this. I see it, I hear it. They have this, and then we take a test and it wasn't showing. So we really started digging into what is it. So we started looking at what is the vocabulary of test taking. Because with our 8-year-olds, we tell our parents all the time, read with your students. Ask your students questions about what you read. But on the STAR test, the question is going to be, what can the reader convey about Charlotte from the excerpt that you're going to read? We don't ask our children that while we're reading with them at home. They don't hear that as we're having discussions in the classroom. So we started looking at what is the testing genre vocabulary. How can we take the vocabulary, simplify it, and teach it to our children so that they have access to get the right answer? And Ms. Allen works with some of our struggling students. She has seen a really big increase this year with ELL students as they begin able to discover the code to these questions. So she's going to talk a little bit about that.
Okay, I'm going to go forward. Oh, this is beautiful. This is a really nice classroom setup here. Let me make sure that my mouse pointer reaches. Yeah, it does. It's nice. Okay, I'll stand back then. The reason that we made this slide was just to show you that if children do not have access to academic vocabulary, this is what they see. And I know that we've all been to trainings in the educational setting where there's always some vocabulary training you do where they give you these jumbled up words. This is reality. This is our kids. And it's not about us. It's not about what we can or can't do. It's about the kids. It will never be about us. It will always be about the children. So when we broke down what do they need help with, if you ask the child, they'll tell you, I don't understand the questions, but I've been teaching my heart out. What do you mean you don't understand the questions? I've got all this wonderful curriculum and all these resources. I don't understand the words. So this is what they're seeing, and I can't make any sense of that. But then if a teacher gives them the keys to that lock and they have access to it, they can simplify it. But these are the big, ugly star words that they're going to see on the test, and the teacher's done a beautiful job teaching. So I'm going to now show you what those words look like. What can the reader conclude based on the events in the italicized section titled Some Pig? Now, the crazy thing about this is we don't talk like that. And this goes back to the end, you'll see like Bix and Calps. We use the social vocabulary to speak to our friends and family. And our babies at nighttime, when we put them in bed, we don't ask them that. I know that I don't with my children. And I definitely probably need to work on italicized text more, because I've never said that to my children. But my students, I have. So this is something that even as a parent we can grow. And the resources, there's a resource at the end that parents will be able to use that's a free resource that the district actually uses. So I'm anxious to show you that. This was just a great example of what the kids see. Now let me show you what I do in my intervention classes. I take it and make it simple. What I want the kids to do when they're with me and their time with me, I want them to look at this and go, that's not overwhelming, I got this. I want them to look at that and go, I am prepared, I have access to those words, and I'm going to make it simple. So in their head, this is what they need to be saying. What can I determine based on the actions in the part with the slanted words? That's actually what it means. They know these things. We've got to show them that they do and give them the confidence. So at Regay Elementary, and hopefully district-wide, we are really killing that academic vocabulary, because if we don't give them access to these words, we can teach our heart out every day. But it's just going to look like the first slide, which was blank. This is an example of two wonderful resources provided by the district that we love and plan with every week. Lead Forward has been a great way to get instructional strategies to help our kids, different modalities, different kinesthetic ideas with templates available, ready to go. TEAC's resource provides us with a great vertically aligned document that what they know last year, let me take a look at that. What do they need to know if they're an enrichment student? I can get them there too. This is a wall that I use in my room that is a word wall built by the children. And I like Pete the cat. Pete the cat, I'm gonna show you Pete the cat. He's right here. He's into the fiction. So the kids have been able to draw, make, create, point to, take down, and put up again their word wall. They know where things are. And that's not gonna be there during testing time. But if I'm testing kids, guess what they do? They're all gonna look up there if they need to know, because they're just accessing that memory. So I don't think, is there another slide? What else do we have for you? This is an example. Oh, I forgot about the wonderful technology we have been cahooting and Quizleting our hearts out, because now, what do you go by? I want to give you a shout out. Just Kirsten. This wonderful woman has come to our campus and provided us with great teacher, just real quick lessons on how to utilize. It's very applicable, that day applicable, like literally took it that day, did something with it. Kids were engaged 100% of the time. 100% of the kids were engaged, which is where you're gonna find, you're getting the best quality out of your students and your teaching. That was fun to do, we laughed and we liked it. So thank you for coming to our campus and doing that. And, oh, last thing, the BICs and the CALPs that I was talking about, I've been tracking my ELL kids. It's amazing to see their progress, given that now we're unlocking all of their locked up, they have access to these words, and I'm going, oh, last year I should have done this, but guess what? I've got all these years to do it. And it's really gonna make a difference. So visual vocabulary and then academic vocabulary is helping them unlock everything that they need. So thank you guys for letting us speak and allowing us to be here. That's all we got.
May I ask a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
You had something that's kind of near and dear to my heart when we're talking about the vocabulary. I see it every day as a business owner with young people, college age, some out of high school, and their vocabulary is amazingly, I hate to, weak. There's no other word for it. And I understand, and it looks like you guys are doing a great job in the classroom addressing that. My question would be, how can we as business owners and a business community assist and probably even expand that out to parents? What can we do on the other end? Because I know you've only got them for so many minutes a day.
There's a resource that for parents we were going to put up here too. The next one, no. Lead Forward this is where we go. You can go to leadforward.com resources. The academic vocabulary for every grade level and subject is there. And we are going in right now, what we're working on our campus is making the alignment so that we know, like in kindergarten, these are the words in this subject that we want everyone to master in kindergarten. And so that we can align them. So it's there, parents can look it up. The testing vocabulary is what we really looked at. It's the IQ test from Lead Forward, because we don't say convey, and we don't ask our 8-year-olds about the playwriter, which those are the words that are coming that our 8-year-olds have to read for this STAR test. So I think that is looking here, getting the vocabulary, and just when you're using the higher level vocabulary, tell the teachers in the classroom, use the higher, use the simple, and then go back to the higher vocabulary so that you're making sure that you are just instilling that in them, and then say, oh, so, when they say, well, I think, so, oh, I see you convey, so that they start getting that in a little bit more to help them use it.
I'm assuming that this is for children that speak English. What about the children that don't speak very well in English, that maybe speak Spanish or another language?
That is one thing. You want to answer that?
No, it puts everybody on the same playing field, because nobody knew what those words were.
Right.
It's the truth. We don't, in my household, I didn't talk about convey, and, we're talking about how does the photograph, one of the questions the kids had this week, and,
it was about a section, and one of the students, one of our fourth graders, I said, well, what does that word section mean? And he's like, well, that's the story. And I'm like, no, section goes with an informational text that's going to have subheadings. What section, which part? You know, being able to, I mean, they don't know those words either, so that kind of does, it levels it out because we're having to teach it to all of our students, whether it's our higher students or our ELL students, our struggling students, everyone's in the same playing field with that.
And it's not just teaching to the test, and I have had some concerns with that. It's academic vocabulary. They need to know plot. They need to know all of these words. And then they also need to know how it's going to be like in this weird format so that they can access that, so that they are confident. Really, I think that our job is to build confidence, to build them up. And I hope that that's what we're doing this year. So if you learned anything tonight, it's not about us, it's just about the kids. So that's why we're here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Good job.
Now we'll call on Ms. Sammy Kinsley for our campus updates.
Good evening, President Irvin, board members, Superintendent Dowdy. It's my great honor to introduce the principals at Carpenter Elementary and Fredonia Elementary. They're going to provide a campus update on the implementation of the Texas Title I Priority School Grant, the TIPS grant, and campus progress in meeting their goals set in the Campus Targeted Improvement Plan. And their student academic progress will be highlighted that addresses our goal performance measures 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. And unable to be with us tonight is our professional service provider, Dr. Peggy Dickerson, but I would like to say she's played a very vital role of helping us keep focus on what we need to do and the progress that both of these campuses are making. The administrators at this campus are working, their teacher leaders, there's an energy level that I'm just really excited to say at both of these campuses, the teachers and the team pulling together with these administrators. So we'll start with Carpenter Elementary with Ms. Moore, and then Ms. Wiebold from Fredonia Elementary will come up.
This is your house.
Good evening, everyone. President Irvin, Superintendent Dowdy, and all of the board members. I'm Lola Moore, the principal at Carpenter Elementary, and I am delighted to be here this afternoon to share with you the progress that we're making at Carpenter. As we've discussed, we are the recipients of the TIPS grant, and this is the first full year of implementation. We are using the grant to improve instruction on our campus by working with our teachers, providing support through training for the teachers, by purchasing supplies for the students and the teachers there on the campus, professional development for our staff and our everyone there, extending our, and also using it to extend our learning programs. We have identified the critical success factors that we need to become a better campus of learners. We are working to improve the academic performance of all students on the campus, use the quality data to drive the instruction there, looking at the areas that the students have struggled with in the past. We are also providing effective leadership to help bring the administrators together with the campus instructors through planning, staff development, using observations, and increased learning time for our students. It's also important that we bring our parents along. We are providing training for our parents and support. We are including the community in the planning and the processes that we're using. We're distributing surveys and asking for the things that the public feel that we need to be doing there on the campus. Our school environment has improved by including our parents as our stakeholders and including the businesses. We are encouraging everyone to have input into what we can do to become more effective. Here we have our academic performance based on our cumulative test during the fall of this year. And as you can see there in the right-hand side, we're looking at the testing for reading for our third, fourth, and fifth graders during the fall. We have room for improvement. But this, again, tells us that we have some areas that we know that we're going to have to address, and we're working diligently to do that. Those were our reading assessment scores. These are our math assessment scores. Again, our students are still not meeting the required passing scores there. So we're using that information to go back and allocate our resources. We're using the data there to also tell us what we need to do to improve the instruction and the testing results from our learners. These are our science scores from the fall. Again, we have some areas that are hopeful. Our third grade scores showed some progress. Our fourth and fifth, we need to work more there, improving the performance of our students. Campus highlights. We are constructing data notebooks for each teacher and each student, looking at the progress that the students are making, looking at the areas that we need to work harder on. We are including everyone in our community of learners on weekly assessments and lessons. We're using that data again to look at what we need to do to shore up our program. We have the benefit of an administrative coach, Ms. Candace Phillips, and she works with the campus leadership. She works also with the curriculum support personnel and looking at our systems to see areas that we can improve on to get a better result from our learners. Carpenter is increasing learning time in several ways. Parents are invited to come in and learn strategies that they can use at home to help support the learning that is going on with the students. We have community partnerships with Concerned Black Men and the Retired Teachers Association. They come in, volunteer and come in and tutor and mentor our young people. And then we have after-school tutorials that we address the needs of our students that are behind and need extra time. And so 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we extend our school day looking at using our data to look at the areas that the children need extra help in. We also have Super Saturdays. We had one this past week where we have events there at the campus providing transportation for our kids to come out and have fun learning, but also focusing on those areas that we know that our kids need additional help in. We have built in targeted intervention time within the school day, again, using that data to address the areas that the kids are still struggling in, giving them additional way to look at the learning and hopefully to increase their performance. We have, with the benefit of the grant, one-to-one technology devices to be used in the classroom to enhance the learning, and also we use it in after-school tutorials. Again, parenting and supporting our parents and including them in the instructional program is a big part of the educational program there at Carpenter. We have had open house, back to school bashes, job fairs that included our parents, reading nights, math nights. We also have a parent resource center there at the campus where parents are trained in supporting their students to prepare for the STAR test. We have a very active volunteer program where parents come in helping teachers prepare instructional materials. And we have a mobile parent resource center off-site. We've partnered with Iron Wheel Baptist Church and the Cypress Ridge Apartment Complex, and we have encouraged our parents to participate in the end of 6 weeks teacher conferences. Community engagement is a big part of our plan, asking the community to come in with ideals, with time, and help with our students. Again, Concerned Black Men, Retired Teachers Association, Healthy Nacogdoches, Nacogdoches Public Library, Iron Wheel Baptist Church are partners with our campus. And during the night that we had businesses come out, and the parents were able to apply for jobs, and again, using that as a springboard to helping build our families, make stronger families, which will also include making stronger students. We know that there are some areas that we need to work on to enhance our program. Attendance rates, we are working to improve our attendance at our campus. We also are working to lessen our office referrals for repeating students who have problems obeying the rules and following directions. And we also want to work to improve our teacher retention rates there at Carpenter, because that would be a plus for us also. We want to grow strong teachers, and we want to retain them. Quality professional development and training are a big plus. We have lots of training that's offered there that's targeting the areas that we know our children need more help in. CHAMPS, NIHouse, we want to work on their behavior, we want to work on their reading skills and math skills, and improve all of the areas that will support stronger students and support learning, and eventually will improve our students as they participate in the state exams. Again, we are going to have next steps in the future. We are again building on all of the things that we're putting in place there at the campus, using the progress to build stronger students, using data, making our facility a building place for future educators, for our present and future educators, which again will improve our student success. We are going to continue with the coaching model that Ms. Candace Phillips brings to our campus, helping train and support our principals and our other administrators and our teachers. And we're going to continue to offer the extended time with students learning with Saturday schools and after-school tutorials. Again, we are committed to building stronger students, excited about learning, and able to share these students with our community. Do you have any questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
In reference to your parent resource, do you have a large amount of parents that are participating, and what are you doing to try to get parents to come in and be part of that?
We do have many parents that are coming in, making materials, supporting the teachers, volunteering their time, working with students, and we're trying to grow that. And we do that by allowing them to come in and see the things that we're doing, and many of the parents want to help. They just don't know how, and don't feel that they fit in, but once we get them in, we make sure that we are involved in them. We have a staff there, and that is their job, and their job is to invite them in, support them. If they have some skills, special skills, we provide training for them. And we go out. Like I said, we have on-site. We go out. We partner with Iron Wheel Baptist Church, and so they allow the staff members to come in and bring in the electronics and work with the parents there and address things that they, like jobs and questions that they have, give them support in whatever they feel like they need. I had a parent come today that had some problems, and after listening to her, I decided that she would be a candidate to work with one of the parent liaisons, and she did, and it helped her. So their needs are various, and their obstacles, you know, again, it's just on a need basis. They tell us, and if it's something that we can do, whether it's something that they feel that they need help with their children, or whatever the barrier is, or they don't feel like they have the skills to work with the children, we help with them there too. But the family nights are bringing a lot of the parents in and making them comfortable with the school and the program, looking at things that we're doing with the kids that they can possibly carry on at home and extend at home.
And the grant's given us also Erin Watson, I'm sorry, for community liaison.
Yes.
So she's invaluable in going out and searching for those people and community partners, and she's all over the place.
She's all over the place. This past week, she decided that we needed more people to help with the Christmas for our students, because a lot of them have had those needs also. And so she went on her blog, and we started receiving more help, and she was able to support more families with toys and other things that the parents wanted to supply for the parents for the Christmas holiday. So
I just want to say that I went to your math night, and I was very impressed because families were there, parents were there, they're participating in it. It was very nice, and your staff is working very hard, and I'm really proud of the staff.
Yes, they have been working very hard.
You guys are doing a very good job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have a couple of questions. First, Mrs. Moore, I want to say thank you for joining our district. We're mighty proud to have you, and I understand that you've got a successful history of bringing campuses out of improvement required. So
thank you.
We're thrilled to have you in Nacogdoches, and I want to acknowledge and thank you for taking the challenge on.
Well, I owe Nacogdoches. This is where I started my teaching career, and this was an excellent opportunity for me to come back and give back to the community that's given so much to me.
Well, that's wonderful. You know, it's real easy as a board member. We sit up here, we know these numbers, and we can see the delightful presentations, and we can see you know, all of the money, all of the grant money, all of the district money that we're throwing at that campus to try to resolve and improve that campus. But I think a lot of us could also agree that, you know, money's not the be all to all solutions. So my question, and I'm pretty blunt, and forgive me for that, I'm just a pretty blunt and direct person. As I sit and I look at all this information that you presented here, my question to you is, what have you identified the most challenging aspect, the deepest need at Carpenter that needs to be addressed to help improve that campus and the student outcomes on that campus? What is that?
It's time. Part of it is time, because it took a while to get in this predicament. And we can address that with extended day, with other activities, smaller groups. And right now we have regrouped, and we're using our interventionalists to pull kids out. We have a lot of specialists that are there to support the teachers and other personnel. And they are excellent at what they do. And I kept looking around, and I thought, wow, it would be wonderful if they were working with the children too. And then it wasn't all my idea, I assure you. We all sat down together, and we've been brainstorming and asking ourselves that very question. And so the plan now is the interventionalists are teaming with the teachers, dividing the students up, pulling out, and addressing those students with the most needs. And so we know that we're going to get a good bang for our buck with that activity, because the teachers are there. We have the seasoned, experienced specialists, and I say it all the time that I see save children's lives academically all the time. And then we have the newbies that are enthusiastic, that are well trained, and the kids just are just sitting there waiting for their very next word. So it's having the right people with those children and the time to make the difference with it.
Time's not an easy thing to come up with.
And no,
is
it's
it?
not. But, you know, it's, that time also is those Saturday sessions that we have, those 4 hours here and there, those afternoons, you know, with those kids. And the beauty of the plan now from the state and through the districts is we're not just targeting the students that are behind, but we are addressing the students that have the potential to be pushed and given more. And so when we plan, we keep them in sight, and that hasn't always been the case. And I'm excited about that.
Second question, if you were to look at discipline numbers across our district, particularly office referrals, Carpenter is an outlier. It's always been significantly higher and more in regard to discipline. What, how is, number one, is how is that looking this year? And number two, what measures have been implemented to address the discipline issue on that campus?
Well, it's a challenge, and it's an individual challenge for each student and each family. So the district has asked that, well, they have contracted with someone to come in and work with us on the discipline. We addressed every child individually in every family, and we're working with the families, we're working with the children. It's not always just behavior. Sometimes there are other problems that you have to deal with, and no one solution is working. But we are seeing our numbers come down. We had a good day today, and you celebrate those good days, and you just keep working. It is getting better, but again, it's a challenge. We have small classroom numbers are very manageable. That helps. Training teachers, having a discipline plan that's campus-wide, that helps. That is a plus. So again, it's having a plan and working the plan. And we've trained teachers. We address discipline problems. We have systems in place for beginning of school, for cafeteria, for after school. And so it's trying to stay ahead. If we see a problem, we come up with a plan, we address it, and we work it. And we have people where we need them so that we can manage the students' behavior.
I'd love to see a midterm update on how our disciplines.
All right.
Finally, and this is going to be the fun question for you to answer. As the campus leader, what do you need? What resource do you need that you haven't been able to access?
I can't name one we haven't been able to access. If we need it, or if I feel I need it, I text my superintendent, and I've not been told no yet. I've been waiting to be told no, but I haven't been told no yet.
Thank you, ma'am, for your patience in answering my questions.
Ms. Moore, what is the gap between approach and meet on those academic performances?
Between approach and meet?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to look at that again. Approach means that you're almost there.
Almost.
That, I guess it would be the difference in 70%, well, not really 70. If 70% is the baseline,
right,
then approach would probably be in the 60s. You're almost there. You're working toward it. Meets is the standard that you set that says that the child is there. So approaching means that you are working toward that goal.
And what kind of response you get on Saturday tutorials?
I'm sorry?
What kind of response you get on Saturday's
We
tutorial?
had our first Saturday tutorial, and it was the theme was a science one. It wasn't as many kids there as we wanted, but I know that the word is going to build. The kids had a ball with the science, and the science teachers were there, and so it's hands-on, it's experiments. I like the science theme because with science, you can pull in your reading, writing, and your science, and your math. So we'll be doing a lot of science, but again, pulling in all of the other subjects with it to support it. it was a start, and the word of mouth is getting around. We are also able to provide transportation, and that's a plus. So that's something that we'll be working toward in the spring, more Saturdays. And it's a 4 hours. We also we provide transportation, we serve breakfast, and we have a hot lunch for them.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
On the deal you have on office referrals on your handout, this 485 referrals for 16-17, was that for the whole year, or was that for the same time frame as this year?
I think that was for the year, but I have to look at that again.
Whole year.
Huh?
Whole year.
That was for the whole year?
Yes.
Okay. So the down below, the current referrals are just for the first 6 weeks?
First, second, and third.
First, second, third, sixth, for half a year?
Yeah.
Okay. So we haven't seen a drastic decrease in office referrals, but somewhat.
We have seen, and one reason is because there are systems in place to identify why the children are, we have some children that have some behavioral issues. It's not just getting in a fight, or it's not premeditated, it's they're having some problems controlling themselves. And then, so we get doctors involved. We also have brought in someone to work with our discipline principal to make sure that we're following all of the guidelines, and we are identifying those children that have some special needs that need to be met.
That was just still only 140 referrals for the first semester, which is well below half of what it was.
And a lot of that is due to having a campus-wide discipline management plan and expectations that are consistent from one class to another.
I guess my last question is, you say there's no resources out there that you absolutely need, but as an old principal, do you have the personnel you need?
Yes. Oh, well, we can always say that.
But what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about just numbers. I'm talking about, do you have the teachers that you think can get you there?
We're working on it. And that's one of those things, being a principal, that you understand. Every time you hire a teacher, that's the teacher that can get you there. But it doesn't always work out that way. And so as we evaluate how our teachers are interacting with our systems or conducting the instruction in the classroom, we have to make some changes. And because we can't wait, our kids can't wait, and we can't wait. Okay. And so I hope that I've answered that one.
And you're getting the support when it works out that this isn't happening, you're getting the support from central office to do what you need.
I get lots of support from central office. Okay. Yes, sir.
Too much.
Mrs. Moore, I'm not gonna ask any questions, but we're happy you're here.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Thank
yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate your experience.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Irvin and board members and Superintendent Dowdy. I'm here to present what Fredonia is doing and where we're going and where we need to go next, focus mainly on your goal 3. And I have the clicker. So our vision statement, the grant provided us an opportunity to brainstorm and work together as a team to come up with a vision statement. We are going to build a caring, strong, supportive community that passionately inspires and equips students to become responsible, lifelong learners so that they can discover and achieve their fullest potential. Our core values that we're working on at this point is trust and respect, caring and compassionate, professional and ethical, committed and responsible. And the unique thing here is the teachers really took me out of the equation, and they wanted to write a vision and core values that could stand even if I wasn't there anymore or even after they left. So it was something that they wanted to push and continue for Fredonia. These are our STAR scores for the last 2 years, and I'm going to focus on our all categories. In 15-16, in reading, we were at 55. We were at 52 last year. In 15-16 for math, we were at 45, and then we went up to 55 last year. We saw our math scores really grow last year. Writing, we went from 50 to 44. In science, we went from 45 to 32. So our areas of concern for us are science this year. Writing, we're also working on, and again, just increasing our math and our reading. This is some exciting news that's coming for the progress measuring that we're working on for reading and math and for writing. Last year, we gave unit tests and CBAs, and I'm focusing just on the CBAs. For math last year, second grade students was at 60%. This year, my second grade students are at 82%, with the CBA given about the same time. Third grade, again, you can see an increase from 25 to 56. Fourth grade from a 38 to a 41, and fifth grade's at the same place that it was last year. And I added a column because the way it's reported on STAR is you put the 3 grade levels together, so I went ahead to kind of predict where we were at this point. If you average the third, fourth, and fifth, I took second out because it's not a STAR grade. We're at 54% right now, and at the end of STAR last year, we were at 55. So we're at the same place that we were at the end of last year right now with our first CBA. So that looks really promising. And then for reading, again, second grade did not give a CBA last year to second graders. If you look from 16-17 to 17-18, we have a little bit of growth in reading for third graders, a bigger jump for fourth graders, and then our fifth graders. But if you really look at reading and math from, say, if I look at it reading at 33 at third grade, 16-17 is at 33%. Those same students are now fourth graders for 17-18, and they're at 75%. So those third graders coming to fourth grade have really made a big improvement. And then the same thing for our fourth grade at 16-17, we're at 38%, and now as fifth graders, they're at 42%. So we're seeing growth in the same kids from fourth to fifth or from third to fourth. Writing is an area that we're still working on. Last year, we were at 47%. At fourth grade, we're at 40% right now. Science is made an improvement of a little bit from 44% to 41% in fifth grade where it's tested on STAR. So we have lots of positives moving if you track students to students, and we see some growth in those grade levels of so we're kind of right where we are where our kids ended last year. So again, lots of improvement happening and a lot of growth going in our students and making progress. This is some more exciting news that I just really wanted to share. It doesn't have to do with reading, writing, and math at the STAR level. But we talk on our campuses that we have two different ball games going on in my building, and that I have the grant targets our early learning, which is pre-K, KM1, which is our foundation to go to STAR. So on one end, I'm building a foundation in our reading scores to get us to where I want our STAR scores to be in the upper grade levels. So if you look at last year beginning in first grade, our DRAs, our reading levels were at 16%.
What's a DRA? Help me.
It's our reading level. It's a test that we give, not really a test, an inventory we give. Diagnostic reading assessment, just to tell them where the kids are reading at. So last year's first graders, 16% of them were on or above grade level. This year, at the beginning of our year, we had 84% on or above grade level. Second grade was 14% last year. 39% of our students were on or above at the beginning. So you can see each grade level, the growth that they had at the beginning of the year. So in January, we'll do this again to have another mark of where they are. TPR is your reading inventory that you've heard several people talking about. Again, our kindergarten students, we give it at the end of the first 6 weeks. Last year, 16% were on developed, and this year we already had 40% at developed. Third grade was at 37 last year. The beginning of this year was at 44. Second grade was at 27 at the beginning, and it's 36. So my teachers are really excited about having to get to do it again in January because they already see growth in these students. So this was the exciting slide that not only are we looking at STAR, but we're also looking at that foundation piece coming up. So we're looking at both pieces.
That's the future.
That's the future. That's what's going to keep me in my building and happy.
Make a difference as we go up.
Yeah.
That initial instruction, so we don't have to have all the other interventions as much because we're getting initial instruction.
So this is going to keep us out of trouble, and I'm trying to get the upper grades out of trouble. So we're working at both places. So only for our STAR progress, and also the grant has helped us do lots of things this year. We have started setting goals with all of our students, and we challenged our 3rd through 5th grade teachers to do it first. But then I had a wonderful pre-K teacher who found a way to do it with her pre-K students. And so she sets every week 3 goals with her students, and she sends them home, and that's their homework for the week. And then she assesses them on Friday where they meet. And so now all my pre-K teachers are doing the same thing, and they post them on their lockers, and they get little rewards and tags for them. And so every grade level has found their unique way of setting goals with students. And the kids are seeing their own success. We do not necessarily tell 3 through 5 where STAR is and where that standard is. We're just pushing them as far as we can. And in the end, we'll set STAR standards on top of their charts, and hopefully they will have already surpassed them. Professional learning communities is the other thing that we have started really hard on our campus. We meet every Wednesday. I don't hold any other meetings during their conference periods, just PLCs. They are very student-centered. We look at their reading levels. We look at RTI, the response to interventions. We look at unit tests, CBAs. This past week, we looked at attendance and discipline for students, and we are making decisions based on kids. We're changing instruction. We're changing our scholar time. We're looking for services that students might need, whether they're struggling or attendance, or referring them to our social worker or counselors. So this is a time the teachers have really appreciated that they get to sit with either the curriculum person or myself. Assistant principal went last week, and we talk about kids, and we're talking about their data. So lots of things coming here. We're still polishing about how this works, but lots of things are coming out of this. The grant has allowed us to add paraprofessionals to our kindergarten classes. My kindergarten teachers are just going, wow, because they can get to the kids. And we've already, you've already seen some progress, so we're hoping middle year will show even a bigger gain. My teachers are really excited. We've been able to add a dyslexic teacher. Her schedule is already full. We've identified several students already, so her groups have increased. And then the rest of her time, she's helping teachers with Night House and implementing that program, and then also pulling groups at Kinder and First to try to close that gap and identify weaknesses at that point. So lots of things are happening here. With the grant, we were able to add a social worker, an additional counselor, and a parent liaison. And lots of things are happening at Carpenter, and lots of things are happening at Fredonia. Our social worker and parent liaison has provided dragon dinners and parent workshops once a month for our parents. The dragon dinners are very academic focused. They're on setting expectations for these students at home and in school, math and reading strategies, and then they're sending home a vocabulary scavenger hunt with the kids over Christmas. They were stapling and doing all kinds of packages today in the front office. We provide child care on these nights, and we provide dinner. So these take place, they're both in English and Spanish, so the translation is provided for those parents. Parent workshops, this particular one in October, November, December was 3-part on discipline and how to support their parents to support the children at home, because what we see at school, a lot of times they're seeing at home. We've been able to provide more student contact and support. More home visits. Our social worker has been busy making home visits. We work on the attendance and the behavior and the counseling, so just that increased amount of time with our students and meeting their needs. Holly Elder is our parent liaison, and she is a busy little beaver just like Erin Watson is. She has set up, and we were able to give 30 car seats to families. They set up in our parking lot, and the parents drove through and got their seats and their little lesson about how to put them in the safety. Increase our participation at Fall Festival. We are partners with the Rotary here in Nacogdoches, and they come once a week. We have people come once a week and read with our kids. Holly had our first beautification project Saturday. We now have new flower beds and painted driveways, and so lots of people out working Saturday to make our campus beautiful. It was another way for our parents to be involved. Again, we have the dragon dinners. We have our gardens. Our students have already harvested once and tested and sampled, and I know I've done POs for the grants to do it several times in the spring. And then we also partnered with NIBCO and did field trip. We walked down to NIBCO and back. Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders loved it. Back to that vocabulary, their favorite part was the hand washing. It must have been a fantastic hand washer sink. And the earplugs, so we had to learn the difference between earplugs and keeping the sound out versus headphones and getting your sound. So again, that vocabulary and that experience of what they got out of that experience. But all 3 grade levels really appreciate it. They just didn't like to walk back up the hill to the school. Part of the other thing is the grant provides money for our teachers to go to individual professional development. And so far, we've sent teachers to CAMP, which is a math professional development in the summertime geared just for math teachers. CAST is a science professional development. We sent some of those in the fall. Frog Street is the curriculum our pre-K teachers are using, and so all 3 got to go to it, and it was a fantastic one. We're already planning that one. On campus, we've done some lesson planning with a backwards design. For our grant and for our turnaround, our focus is improving our Tier 1 instruction. So we've really worked on how to develop our lesson planning based on looking at the assessments ahead of time and planning in a backwards way. We did some training on student engagement and what that really looks like, identifying where our kids are with engagement. The grant provided more iPads and Chromebooks. And then we have partnered with Courtney Jackson, our technology person, to do training once a month. That's part of our rotation that we do. And so she does a very targeted piece there to increase the use that we're doing. We're also going to pilot, and Sharon will help me out some more, we have set some iPads aside that we're going to check out through the library and download books. Yeah. So we're going to pilot that and try that because we wanted the books in the kids' hands when they go home. Our Hispanic population a lot of times can't help their children read, so this would be a way for them to be able to get it home and hear. The students would be able to hear the right vocabulary and pronounce correctly. And so we're going to step out and try this. So we're kind of anxious. We're still putting it into pieces, but that will be an exciting piece that the grant is allowing us to do. With the grant, one of the critical success factors, like we talked about, is attendance and for behavior. So we had to write goals on these. So part of what my assistant principal has done is taken the attendance and the discipline, and her focus has been on increasing the attendance each 6 weeks. And so she does attendance recognition for the faculty and the students. They create, students get, and classes get, this year, this 6 weeks, it's been Christmas trees, and they've added little balls to their Christmas trees, ornaments. And so the ones, so we do attendance rallies at the end of each 6 weeks. The class with the most perfect attendance days gets the pizza party, but every kid that has perfect attendance for that 6 weeks gets their name. They get to stand up during an assembly, and they received a little spirit stick, tag, and also a little goodie bag when they go home. So we've been just trying to increase it. If a grade levels faculty is present the entire week, they get a free gene pass for the next week. That kind of challenges you to be present every day. PBIS for the behavior. We have built in behavior bashes each 6 weeks. So on a kid's conduct grades, if it's a certain point, they get to come to the behavior bash. We did minute to win it games last 6 weeks. Oh my goodness, the laughter going on in the cafeteria was kind of contagious. We also provide little spirit sticks. They're like a play off of dog tags. They're little material things that they can add to their backpacks and start collecting. Champs has really increased in our building. You hear the conversations, you hear it in the classroom. Heart of a Dragon is part of Champs, where every letter stands for a behavior that we want to exhibit. And so when kids are caught doing this, they get a little write-up, they bring it to Miss Hewitt, their name's called out, they get a certificate to take home with to their parents. The parents get to see what they're doing, and they get to sign our Heart of a Dragon bulletin board. It's getting pretty full. I'm not sure what we're going to do next semester, but we're going to be adding to it, and so they're just and then we have bucket fillers that our counselors are doing for kids who are just doing the right thing and building up other students. So that's continuing on our campus. We have a leadership grant team with our grant. It's 7 members, myself, our grant coordinator, and then our professional service provider, Dr. Dickerson. We meet monthly. We look at where we are with our grant goals. We have lots of paperwork to take care of. That's not the fun part. We'd love spending the money, though. And then we brainstorm of ways to initiate it to match our goals and to improve our campus. Our focus truly is still Tier 1 instruction. So as that increases, Like I had 2 math teachers come today because they just got new data today, and so they're very excited about their data. So the teachers are getting excited, the students are getting excited, and you can see the movement happening on the numbers. Where are we going to go next? We're getting ready to plan our spring school tutorials after school. We're going to be adding another 3rd grade teacher to help with 3rd grade because we need to focus on that 3rd grade reading in that part. We will continue very focused scholar time groups. We will begin planning for our interventions between when we give our benchmarks and our STAR test. And then we will begin planning our summer camps, which the grant provides. This summer we will do 6 weeks of Fredonia summer camp. So getting ready to plan all these exciting things, just another round of plans coming. But this is where Fredonia is and where we're headed. And so it's kind of exciting on our campus to see the kids are really moving and going, and so the excitement that's being created on our campus at this time. Questions?
I just have a comment about Holly Elder. She is a go-getter. She had me painting and digging up flowers this weekend and it was like 35 degrees. So she doesn't stop. She's a go-getter.
She is a go-getter.
Asset to your staff.
Absolutely. What a difference a year makes.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Congratulations. It's so exciting to see this upward trend, and I know it came with a tremendous amount of work on your part, but your teachers and your full staff as well. So congratulations. I mean, this is really exciting. Hopefully we'll be seeing a report like this soon for Carpenter. What do you need, Melinda, to keep this trend going? What resources do you need?
I don't know about resources. Time is always that pressing thing, but it's time to plan. It's just time to plan. You know, I think we have a lot of things, but our teachers like that time to sit and just plan and think it all out. That's part of it. The grant will provide time for us to plan some of these things on Saturday where I can pay teachers to come away from kids and do some planning. So that's what we'll start doing in January, 1st of February.
This year we had more teacher work days incorporated every 6 weeks, right? Has that?
Yes.
It's helped, but it would be nice to have more. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
So, because what we did is we did some training on lesson planning, very specific lesson planning and how to look at things. So we then took that set and went every one of those days that we had before the 6 weeks. We looked at every test that was coming up. The teachers could look at it, analyze, look at the types of questions, and then they went and completed my long lesson plan, unit plan. Very detailed, planning their engagement, thinking about their questionings, thinking about the level they wanted kids to be. So those days have been very, very useful. Plus, then I didn't have to worry about subs because we did it during the 6 weeks. So like this third 6 weeks, we didn't have one coming up in January to plan, so I had to give the teachers a day to plan, and so they feel like they're set when they leave in 2 days because they're already ready for the 6 weeks when they come. But those have been very beneficial days to work and go and sit with teachers and challenge them on their lesson plans too.
I like that's a good wish list item, don't you think, Superintendent Dowdy?
I think so.
Very nice.
We like it that way.
I've got some real pluses, but a couple of things I'd just like to address. If you look at your cohort groups, you've got some real impressive numbers there. You have a few concerns. If you look at your cohort group between 3rd and 4th, and let's take their CBAs first.
Okay.
Little concern, and I just know that I hope that you've addressed it, but there's a little concern between 2nd grade and 3rd grade because you had a drop of the same cohort group from 60 to 56. But then in 3rd grade to 4th grade, you had a significant jump. And then if you look at 4th to 5th grade, from 38 to 64, you had a significant jump. Just want to make sure you're addressing, something's going on between 2nd and 3rd right there. Under reading, this is unbelievable, but your 3rd grade cohort to the 4th grade, from 33 to 75, that's huge.
Yes.
And 4th to 5th was a gain. You got some other gains in there, but either you got a really good 4th grade reading teacher
She was a math teacher, I converted to reading. She was a math teacher, we're converted to reading.
Okay. A little concerned with your writing course. Is this fourth grade still, is fourth grade still the writing?
Yes, fourth grade is, and this CBA was given sooner than our CBA last year.
Okay.
Because we didn't really give a fall full CBA in revision and writing like we did this time, revision and editing.
And you had a pretty significant jump between third and fourth grade in science also, between third and fourth. Pretty significant. So, you know, that's good.
We've made some
Thank you so
personnel
much.
changes from last year to this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Right.
At this time, the board will take a break for about 15 minutes, and then we will reconvene. Thank you.